Yeah. Lil Brunson back at you with the back at you, and I am the best reporting on the Eagles. Listen, if y'all in the middle of this little tropical storm situation that's brewing, this little rainstorm, damn, I just stepped in a puddle. My grass all wet. If y'all in the middle of this little rainstorm situation that's happening, man, make sure y'all safe, man. You know what I mean? This little hurricane that's coming up the East Coast. It was crazy yesterday, to say the least. You know what I mean? It was raining real hard. You know what I'm saying? I had to get up out of the way of that, man. You know what I mean? Yo, I want to let y'all know right now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, when you order them from the print champs, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you check in your emails, because you may miss some important information pertaining to your order and your delivery and your package. You know what I'm saying? You can get your tracking information. All that stuff goes right to the email that you guys use when you make your order. Make sure you do that. Oh, and yesterday some new designs dropped that way. You know what I'm saying? Instead of the big logo in the front of the hoodie, we're gonna throw some small joints over the heart for you on the t-shirts and over the hoodie. So it's gonna be the same logos that you see on the windbreaker, and the same placement. We're gonna throw them on the hoodies and the t-shirts for you. Just give you some options. You know what I'm saying? They up there now. Everything's available now. I'm gonna throw the link in the description for all of that, man. Listen. Do we really want the NFL season to happen now? Y'all know how much I love football, man. I love football so much that I do this here every day. I do it every day. You know what I'm saying? I love football. And it's like, at this point, with Doug Peterson catching COVID, with Doug Peterson saying what he said about, you know, how he plans on handling the quarterback situation, is it in our best interest to have football right now? Here's the scenario that I'm getting from Doug Peterson and what possibly could happen. Now, Doug Peterson is saying stuff like this. We're going to keep one quarterback home for the majority of the week in case. Now, what he means by that is that he's going to keep a quarterback home in case your first string quarterback, which will be Carson Wentz, and your second string quarterback, for some reason, is looking like it's going to be Jalen Hurts. I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? If they both come down with COVID, then that means that your third string quarterback would have not been at the facility, you know what I mean, all week. So it's a very likely chance that he doesn't have it. You know what I'm saying? And then that way he could be your starter. I mean, in a perfect world, your third string quarterback being your starter is just bananas to me. It's bananas. Now it's not not only do quarterbacks and players have to worry about injury taking them off the field, they got to worry about COVID taking them off the field. It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? And the thing with COVID is this: you got to quarantine for like 14 days. That's 2 weeks. You could potentially miss 2 games. You could potentially miss 2 games and put your team in a bad situation. So this COVID thing it's tricky, man. It's tricky. It gets different. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot that goes into that. A lot of star players, you know what I'm saying? Like this. You really got to take care of yourself. You got to let your family know, like, hey, listen, man, I can't afford to have parties at the crib. I can't afford to be around people, because it seems like the testing is going to be done on a weekly basis. So people have to understand that, you know, you gotta really put your craft and put your position on the field first. Because if you do anything to not let yourself be on the field, then you could potentially really hurt your team. So you really got to understand that staying safe and social distancing is top shelf this off season. It's not nothing that we could take lightly. You know what I'm saying? It looks like the season is going to happen. Maybe they find a way to get this under wraps before the season. Listen, you still got time. You still got about a strong month for protocols and things that happen differently. You know what I'm saying? But with people still popping up with COVID, and baseball ain't shutting down yet. Baseball is still trying to keep it pushing. Basketball seems to be getting it right. I feel like that they will find a workaround around this. But if a player comes, it's going to happen. Trust me. I'm not saying it's going to happen with our organization, but a top-notch player for somebody's organization will test positive for COVID and will miss time due to testing positive for COVID. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of understand, you know, Odell Beckham said they might as well shut it down. Well, you got to look at the type of player Odell Beckham is. Odell might be a party guy. Odell might like being around people. Odell might be an entertainer. But you got certain guys who don't live that lifestyle, who you know what I'm saying? Who want to just come to work. They just want to come to work. You know what I'm saying? They want to stay low key and come to work. You don't hear about a lot of stuff like dudes going to parties like that on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, D-Jax used to be like that when he was young, but you ain't hear nothing about that in terms of D-Jax doing things like that in the last 5-6 years. You know what I'm saying? So Listen, man, the players have the responsibility. If you're not opting out, you have a responsibility to stay safe. Now, they can't penalize players for catching COVID because who knows how you can catch COVID? You know, who knows how you caught it if you do catch it. So it will be unfair to penalize people who don't opt out for catching COVID in crucial moments. But there has to be some rules set in place, in my opinion. You got to set some benchmarks. You have to let players know, you know what I mean, that if you break curfew, if you do this, if you out doing this, if you're out not being safe and you're caught, then you could be penalized for that. Because there's no point in committing to the season during the pandemic if you're not going to follow the protocols to be safe and be available on the field. It's no point. You know what I mean? And that's something that the Philadelphia Eagles and the entire NFL have to take into accountability. That guys have to understand that they have to do their part to stay safe. Just because you playing and just because you are not opting out, you have to stay safe. And by the way, the deadline for opting out is Thursday at 4 p.m. I'm kind of expecting a few more people league-wide to opt out. I don't think anybody else on the Philadelphia Eagles will opt out, but it's a scary situation when your head coach catches COVID-19. You got to think about that as a starting quarterback. You got to think about that as a starting running back. You got to think about that. And some of these guys have kids. So if your head coach can catch it, who probably don't have any small kids at this point in time, you got to worry about how that can affect you moving forward. You know what I'm saying? That you got to stay safe. You got to stay safe. That's first and foremost. And the dangerous thing about it is, you know, you can feel good all week, not have any symptoms, and still pop up hot and miss a big division defining game next season. You know what I mean? You got to stay safe. And I think they also got to probably, restructure the rules. Because if you're asymptomatic and you test positive for COVID-19, maybe they should test you, 4 days later. You know what I mean? So you could have a chance of playing in the upcoming game. You know what I'm saying? I think something like that is going to happen. Now, if you have a situation to where you have to be hospitalized, obviously the wait time is different. But if you're asymptomatic and you're feeling fine, yes, you got to quarantine. Yes, you might not be practicing that week, but let's test them a couple times before the game. You know what I mean? So in a perfect scenario, I see this playing out like this. I don't see guys being sidelined for multiple weeks due to COVID. I see guys missing practice. Now, I could live with that in the perfect scenario. You know what I mean? You're talking about these guys are athletes where not a lot of them have underlying health issues, so a lot of them should be good. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you still got to stay safe if you plan on playing. Everybody knows the climate of this. You can't walk into a store without a mask. There's no parties going on right now. You got to stay safe. You got to stay safe. And I think the NFL will be able to beat this. I think the players will band together to keep everybody accountable. And I'm looking forward to the season, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about, just keeping a third string or extra quarterback, in the tuck in case everybody's sick or something like that. Let me know what you think in the comments.